Okay, so something that I have to get used to is understanding the level of authority that I have now. Um, God has given me the ability to see that I am much more than what is in my bank account, right? There's a lot more in my mind, there's a lot in my heart, there's a lot that I have to give and share into the world. So I have to get used to that. So, one of the things that I do is I have a blog or a website, right? So my website is called Gorilla Talk, and then Gorilla Talk is where I talk about my journey of kingdom leadership, right? So where I'm a son of God, I'm a father, I'm a partner. Like, this is where I get to talk about all these little lessons and the things that I get to learn, because they are part of my legacy. There are the things that I am learning, and also it helps me develop mastery of what it is that I'm doing, and the fact that I am sharing it out into the world gives me that extra bump of courage, right? Because I'm doing something that makes me, and if I'm really honest with you, it makes me feel like nervous, anxious, excited, a little bit scared. Like, it's me practicing courage. It's me building courage. It's part of my high performance routine. It's part of my um like my growth process, I guess you could say, because I have to practice developing courage every day, right? And doing this high performance journey, learning entrepreneurship, learning how to become an investor, like all these different things that I have set out in my mind to accomplish has put me on a trajectory that has forced me to grow, and it has forced me to learn, and it has forced me to evolve and come out of my shell. And I am so excited to be this person that I am today, because it's so dope. Like, the other day I was talking to somebody, and this is a younger person, right? And so I was telling them, because they asked me about like nutrition and sleep and things like that. So then they're like, oh, I was like, hey, how'd you sleep? And they're like, oh, well, I didn't sleep very well. And I'm like, dang. It was like, well, you should try XYZ, whatever, right? And so then I don't know how the conversation came up, but then I was like, oh yeah, I remember when I used to own a gym, blah 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 blah. And they were like, whoa, you used to own a gym? And I'm like, yeah, I owned a gym for a little bit. It was always a dream of mine, and I just went ahead and did it. And then, the conversation, like, do you still have it? No, I don't, but it was an amazing learning experience, things like that. And then they're like, whoa, I mean, you've done so many cool things, because, obviously this person knows me as a performance coach, and then just in passing, right? So anyways, I just go, yeah, I try to do things that bring me joy, things that bring me excitement, and things that force me to grow, and that was basically the end of the conversation, and we went about our day. But it's so important that I'm able to be that light. That's who I've always wanted to be. That's always somebody that I've seen myself being, is being that light for someone, that like spark of life in people's days. Because I feel like as a, this is how I've felt, right, in my day. We just walk around like drones, doing what we feel like we're supposed to be doing, rather than doing something that we feel like it's on purpose, right? Like, it's on purpose. I've always wanted to do things on purpose. So don't mind my pacing. I'm out here trying to get my steps, and I'm clearing my mind before I go into my next activity, which is like a high value. So I'm I tell people about deep work, and I do all these things. So I just want to show you that I do it, right? One of the things that are on my to-do list for today is to make a video for Gorilla Talk. Instant fear, right? I don't want to get nerd. Like, you start spiraling into that, like, negative. Now I'm just like, you know what? Whatever. I'm gonna just speak from the heart. I get to say what I gotta say. I have so much joy. It's I'm not gonna shelter it, or like hold back anymore. This is who I am. I'm a happy dude. I love life. I'm living a dream. Like, I really am. And, I want to share it with you guys because you can do it too. And it's not that the concepts aren't out of this world. It's just the consistency that comes with it is what makes it challenging, right? Because it's not that we can't do these things, it's just how often we do these things. And that's one of the things that has been embedded in my brain since I was a kid. That is my unfair advantage, because I grew up with hardworking parents. I come from a hardworking family. Hard work is not something that I'm scared of, right? But that can also be a downfall, because if you're just used to working hard, you'll be on that treadmill. You think you're growing, and you think you're moving forward, and you're really not, because you're just busy and you're not being productive, right? So I've had to learn these things through trial and error. I decided to officially, right, quote unquote, become an entrepreneur in 2018. I buttoned things up with where I was at with the family business, with helping my parents, and then I jumped in and both feet, and I did my own thing, trying to build an investment portfolio, right? They say, you have to have that battery or that engine. I like to use an engine because I'm a car guy. So, and if you didn't know that about me, I was a mechanic for 6 years. Anyways, another story for another day. So you need that engine. So I became an entrepreneur. I was like, okay, well, ROI on my time for dollars, it wasn't really cutting it. So I did my own thing. I got a gym, I became a coach, and I got lost in that sauce, and I forgot that my real vision of why I became an entrepreneur was and is to build a legacy, to build investment property, to, I really learned about the BRRRR strategy from Bigger Pockets, right? David Green, my guy. And he's the one that really planted that seed of like, okay, this is the strategy of how to do it. You buy blah, 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 right? I'm like, okay, cool. I'm out here painting houses and I'm listening to these things. They're going in my head. I'm like, all right. Houses I'm pretty familiar with. I've been in them my whole life. I'm sure you have too. We all live in homes. But anyways, so then I went and I was listening to a lot of Gary Vee, and he was like, what would you do if you could do it for free? Then I was like, oh, I'm gonna become a personal trainer. It's gonna be so much fun. And it was amazing. It was cool. I would do it again. Which is why I still coach, like teaching people. Like, one of the things I really enjoy is I just love talking like this. Like, I feel like if we were here at my office and we were just walking back and forth here, just getting some steps, this is what I would be sharing with you, and it really does echo some of the conversations that I do have with some of the amazing people that work at my office as well. Now, to tie things back together, is you don't have to have it all figured out, but you do have to have a vision of what you want to accomplish in this world. If you had no limitations, right? Like, if you didn't have any limits on your life, like, what would that look like for you? What would you be doing if money wasn't an option, right? Or an obstacle, right? What would you do? For me, I would hang out with my family. I would do the things that I love to do with the people that I love, right? I would be able to give them what I want to give them because I want to, right? If I want to see my cousin, I'll be like, hey, I'm flying out to you, or I'm flying you and your family up to me, right? Because I want to see you. I want to have that level of freedom, and therefore that's what I'm tuning my awareness to, right? So I'm tuning my awareness, I'm using high performance, and we're using those two things to create the vision that we see inside of our heart, inside of our mind, and then the body kind of just follows, and then life just kind of follows, and then your awareness learns to see those opportunities, right? And so that's really what I want to share today. I hope that there was some sort of, I guess I won't even say I hope. I really do hope that you have stuck around, listened to this video, and taken one nugget or a few, and you're able to implement this into your life, and you can see how planting little seeds every day will help you move forward and help you see things more positively and help pull you out of that like stagnation that you feel, or that like fear that you have, that you don't want to either share your story, or you don't know what your story is, or things like that. So let me know in the comments below, what's your dream? What is it that you see yourself doing if you had no obstacles? If this was a perfect world and if you can think of something and you can give it to yourself, what would that be? Right? What would that be? I want an extraordinary life, therefore I need to become an extraordinary person, right? So what kind of life do you want, and what kind of person do you need to become in order to make it happen? All right, well, thank you for your time. I appreciate you. Have a great day, and I'll just talk to you guys on the next one. Peace.